Chapter 23:12. Collapse is imminent 1. After reading the information, Yang Xinshin realized the seriousness of the matter. She didn't rush to find Jang E, but instead said to Lu Karen, "It seems that things are not as bad as we thought. We can wait for a while and see how the outside world reacts." Lu Karen tilted his head and said, "How should I put it? If the moonstone fragments on the moon fall, the whole world will suffer." Yang Xinshin crossed her arms and said calmly, "Although we are still unclear about what happened on the moon, if that race is the Ihan, they would not harbor any ill will towards us humans. God-level civilizations treat lower civilizations like babies and do not harbor any ill will towards them, because they are too transcendent, and the birth of the 6th generation of humans must be within their control. They exist in the world to check and balance the druckers. Therefore, the collapse of the moon must be due to other reasons, not to exterminate mankind. We can wait and see what other regions have to say." Yang Xinshin had a relaxed smile on her face, especially in Shengjing District. In Shengjing District, we can contact the Qinling Dragon Clan. If something major really happened, they might be able to get some information from the Dragon Clan. As for other regions, they will probably panic after learning about the changes on the moon. If they need to avoid possible disasters, they must come to Jang E and seek refuge in the Wulwan Empire as soon as possible. So, what is Yang Xinshin worried about? Even if meteorites fell from the sky, and the biological environment on the surface of the planet was completely destroyed, they still had a way out. This incident did not surprise Yang Xinshin. Jang E isolated himself from the outside world and went into seclusion underground, carefully experiencing the battle with Zhenglu in order to improve his actual combat ability. The senior management of each region was unable to contact Jang E and was almost going crazy. They had no choice but to come to Yang Xinshin. The joy of defeating the Wulwan Empire had not yet faded, but they had to immerse themselves in another terrible crisis. The feeling of ups and downs is really helpless. "Ms. Yang, we can join in the transformation of the Wulwan Empire. Can you let us go there in advance? No one can predict what the situation outside will be like. Lunar fragments could fall at any time. We are not very reassured." To Yang Xinshin, all these statements just sounded like fear of death. When ordinary people know that the moon has broken into pieces, they just mention it as a topic of conversation after dinner, because they believe that even if such a major event happens, all of humanity will be destroyed. Therefore, they don't need to worry, as meat-eaters will naturally take care of it. But those who truly hold power know more than ordinary people and are more afraid of death. Yang Xinshin simply said, "This matter requires the decision of Han Dun. You will all wait for a while. But during this time, don't be idle. Go and gather more information." For a time, the entire Huashu Kingdom's top leaders began to panic. Of course, in order to avoid causing panic, only a very small number of senior officials knew about the moon's fragmentation. Zhang Yi's seclusion was not long, only 3 days, and he came out from the underground martial arts training ground. The divine chain that was originally wrapped around his wrist has now transformed into a bracelet and is wrapped around his fingers. The divine chain appears to be soft and changeable, but it can transform into sharp arrows or chain darts that can be extended infinitely in an instant to attack the enemy. As soon as Jang E returned, Yang Xinshin and Lu Karen found him and told him what had happened recently. Jang E was originally in a good mood and was planning to enjoy life after conquering the Wulwan Empire. After all, they had been planning this battle for too long and were extremely tired from fighting it. Unexpectedly, there is a problem again now. Yang Xinshin said to Jang E, "This incident didn't just happen now. It seems to have been going on for a while. It's just that we just noticed it now." Jang E asked, "How do you say that?" Yang Xinshin said, "No one paid attention to the sky before, and no astronomers had the time to study the moon. After all, this profession was almost completely eliminated after the apocalypse." The news came from the Tong organization, judging from the time when the incident on the moon occurred. She glanced down at the information, then looked up at Jang E and said word by word, "It was after we returned from Tianyu Palace." A dark light flashed in Jang E's eyes. The impact of that incident was indeed enormous. One of the most powerful races in the world, the second generation of humans, the Ihan people, their collective return to the ether will inevitably attract the attention of all generations of intelligent creatures in the world, including Mammon's breaking of the seal. The same is true of today's moon changes. A terrible possibility came to Jang E's mind. He touched his chin and said with some concern, "Could it be that the Druk Protoss is also sealed on the moon?" He thought of the word recorded in the history books of ancient civilization. The day of fall. Is the moon going to collapse and fall to the earth? Is this the day of destruction predicted? Yang Xinshin said, "The information we've received so far indicates that there's an Ihan civilization on the moon. And judging by the reactions of other ancient civilizations around the world, things aren't that dire." She showed the black box to Jang E, but there was too much data in it, and Jang E had no time to identify it one by one. "Xinshin, please summarize the contents for me." Jang E knows how to save trouble. Yang Xinshin nodded. "Well, the black box didn't explicitly say whether there's a sealed place for the Druks on the moon. But according to the historical records of ancient civilizations, there are still 7 of the most powerful Druk giants who still exist in the world. Then he is most likely sealed on the moon. I suspect that the descendants of the Ihan tribe are responsible for guarding his seal. The collapse of the Tianyu Palace and the return of the spiritual ocean to the ether caused the seal to loosen, affecting the surface of the moon. That's why everything happened today." She pulled up some data. According to that conservative Ihan, there is a new organization established by radicals on the moon called the Huiwa Empire. They have collaborated before and have a connection that goes back nearly 1,000 years. Following the instructions in the black box, we can take a spacecraft to the moon and find the location of the Huiwa Empire. Chapter 23:13 Collapse is imminent, 2. After listening to what Yang Xinshin said, Jang E felt conflicted. As he thought about it, he raised his questions. "Xinshin, if this piece of moon debris falls, how much of an impact will it have on us?" A fragment about 100 kilometers long shouldn't be much left after passing through the atmosphere, right? Jang E still held a glimmer of hope in his heart, hoping that things would not be as bad as he had imagined. Yang Xinshin did not directly answer Jang E's question. "There is a fish tank in the living room. Yang Xia raises some sea fish in it and plays with them when she has nothing to do." Yang Xinshin picked up a small mint candy from the coffee table and then quickly threw it into the fish tank with her quick eyes and hands. Boo! After a crisp sound was heard, Jang E saw huge ripples on the surface of the fish tank. Yang Xinshin then said, "Once lunar debris falls, it will be attracted by gravity and rush towards the surface at an incredible acceleration. It doesn't need to be particularly large. Once it hits the surface, the shock wave it generates will have a global impact. A direct impact would only destroy a small area, but the resulting earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions could put the planet in a long period of disaster. So, I think there should be no room for luck. Once it hits the atmosphere, the kinetic energy contained in the acceleration is unimaginable. It exceeds the destructive power of any weapon currently used by humans and any inhuman." Jang E opened his lips slightly. He originally wanted to ask if it would be possible if he used the dimensional door to bring it into another space. Hearing this, he immediately shut his mouth. The different space is just an independent space created by his personal ability, and its stability increases as his ability improves. Once the energy exceeds the capacity threshold, it will collapse directly. Obviously, his idea is not advisable. Jang E thought for a moment and continued, "If we hide in the underground world, can we ensure safety?" Yang Xinshin shook her head. "There's no way to give a definitive answer right now. Because the generation of lunar debris is not natural, we don't know when it will fall or where it will fall. But brother, I can assure you that if lunar debris really does fall, at least we will have time to react. The math is perfect, and we can find the safest areas to escape this disaster." "We" refers to everyone in Jang E's team. "As for the life and death of others at that time, I'm sorry, there's nothing they can do." Jang E sat on the sofa, his hands crossed, lost in thought. It was another unknown world. They did not have enough intelligence and did not know the cause of the incident. He was not even sure whether the Huiwa Empire of the Ihan people on the moon had good intentions towards humans. After all, billions of years have passed, and human races may have evolved. Xin, what do you think about this matter? Jang E asked Yang Xin for her opinion. Yang Xin smiled faintly. Brother, the worst outcome is that humanity is extinct and we survive. Considering the worst outcome, we can all be fine, so you can relax a little. The current intelligence is insufficient. Compared to us who have the means to avoid disasters, the countries and major powers around the world should be the ones who are most worried, right? So, I think we don't need to panic, but we should wait for them to provide more intelligence before deciding what to do next. Jang E nodded. Yang Xin's analysis was very thorough. Then let's do as you say. Let's hold off for now. So, Jang E used Yang Xin's words to dismiss the senior executives from other regions. As for the request to go to the Wulwan Empire in advance, Jang E politely declined it. If a piece of the moon really falls, no one knows where it will land. There's no point in hiding underground. On the contrary, with the movement of the tectonic plates, the death underground will be even more hopeless. On the contrary, if you are on the surface and far away from the impact center, there is still a possibility of survival. When the senior leaders of each region heard this, they knew that Jang E was right. However, the fear in their hearts was hard to dispel, so they could only seek help from Jang E, who possessed great power, and the Xinjiang region. At this time, Jang E took the opportunity to put forward his own suggestions. Our understanding of the world is too limited. Why not seek guidance from higher civilizations? For example, the dragon tribe beneath the Qinling Mountains. They are most likely the ancestors of Huashu Nation's civilization and must know more than us. Having said that, Jang E's intention couldn't be more obvious. This requires people in Xinjiang district to communicate with the Dragon Clan to obtain accurate intelligence. Li Guangxiao of the EC region also said to Meng Yuanjun and Ho Tu, the Huashu kingdom is facing a critical moment, so the two of you should stop hiding things. We know you have connections with the Qinling Dragon Clan. Why not take this opportunity to get to know them? Ji Changhai, the supreme commander of the Northeast region, also said hurriedly, It's already this time, let's not worry about personal gains and losses. Although the Qinling Dragon Clan is your resource, if something goes wrong now, we will all be doomed. Meng Yuanjun did not speak, but glanced at Ho Tu. After all, up to now, the only person who can be recognized by the Dragon Clan is Ho Tu. In the eyes of the Dragon Clan, other people are no different from ants. Ho Tu could naturally sense the anticipation of the crowd, so she said, I can go and ask, but I can't guarantee any results. Even in the Xinjiang region, people have always been shamelessly trying to establish relationships with the Dragon Clan, but it's hard to say whether they are willing to pay attention to them or not. But now, Ho Tu has received guidance from the ancestor of the Dragon Clan, and the relationship has taken a step forward. It will be easier to seek help and guidance later. That's how people are. When you help someone, it will be easier to help them when they ask for help again. Because when you helped him before, it was equivalent to investing a sunk cost. Jang E nodded. Then we will wait for your good news. All major regions of Huashu Kingdom began to point a large number of astronomical telescopes at the moon at various angles all day long, for fear that a large piece of debris would suddenly fall from it at some point. Ho Tu really went to find the people of the Dragon Clan, of course, through the Black Dragon Yuanjing. After it returned to the Dragon World, it still chose to stay in Xinjiang. This seemed to be the guidance of the Dragon Ancestor. Chapter 23:14 Imminent Collapse 3. The world has changed dramatically, and people are no longer so hostile to ancient races that are not sixth-generation humans. But even a powerful being like the Black Dragon still has to stay under the deep dragon-locking well. It seems that Kagago has not completely lifted the restrictions on previous generations of humans, and powerful ancient humans may be wiped out if they appear on the surface. The Black Dragon has a long lifespan and has long been accustomed to life underground, so it doesn't think there is any problem. That night, Ho Tu took the underground elevator and came to the depths of the locking dragon well alone. When the black dragon saw her coming, it playfully made a deep and loud sound like a drum. "Hey, the god of Huashu country is here?" His tone was full of teasing. Talking to Ho-Tu occasionally had become one of his pleasures. "Lord Black Dragon." Ho-Tu nodded very respectfully. "Well, what do you want to do this time?" Black Dragon knew Ho-Tu's style of doing things very well. If there was nothing important on a normal day, this little girl would not come here in person. Ho-Tu did not hide it and told him the truth immediately. If something unexpected happens to the moon, huge meteorite fragments may fall, causing a major disaster to the world. If this situation occurs, it will be even more serious than 4 years ago. The entire human race will be extinct. So, I would like to ask Lord Black Dragon, does the Dragon Clan know anything about this matter? Heilong also frowned when he heard this. Is that true? A hint of disappointment and impatience flashed in Ho-Tu's eyes. How could the Dragon Clan be completely unaware of such a big thing? You have to understand that the moon is something that the people of the underground world cannot see. Why would we pay attention to it? The Black Dragon looked unconvinced. Ho-Tu frowned slightly and then asked, "But if the moon fragments fall to the earth, the underground world will inevitably be affected." Upon hearing this, the Black Dragon sneered. "Tisk, self-righteous human." Ho-Tu blinked. The Black Dragon said lazily, "No matter what happens on the surface of the planet, it will not affect the dragon race. If it really is a world-destroying disaster, our ancestors would have given us instructions." Ho-Tu thought of the distant ancestor of the Dragon Clan who taught her the Bagua sealing technique, and a sense of awe emerged in her heart. Bagua is a sealing technique, but also a decoding tool. The more she studied it, the more she felt its power. This seems to be a binary tool that can decode everything in the material world and even predict the future direction of the world. She only studied it for a while and felt that she benefited greatly from it. What's more, what about those dragons with long lifespans? Ho-Tu thought to herself, could it be that the ancestor of the Dragon Clan has already predicted what will happen in the future? This seemingly world-destroying catastrophe is actually not that terrifying. She reaffirmed, this catastrophe will not destroy the world. Is that what Lord Black Dragon meant? The Black Dragon opened its mouth and yawned lazily. At most, I can destroy a part of you humans, but I can't destroy the world. These words made Ho-Tu feel both happy and nervous. I am happy because the level of the disaster is not that exaggerated. At least there is a solution. She was nervous because she couldn't confirm the location of the disaster or the extent of the damage. Just because the dragons may not care doesn't mean they cannot care. But when Ho-Tu wanted to ask something more, the Black Dragon had already shown an impatient look. How should I know about that? You have your own hands and feet. Can you investigate? Go away now and don't bother me anymore. He would really get annoyed if he got along with these people who only knew how to take and not give for a long time. No wonder it is recorded in the books about the Dragon Clan that this is the worst and most atrocious clan in history, a clan that embodies the shortcomings of all generations of human beings. After Ho-Tu received the information from the Black Dragon, she immediately informed Jang E and other high-ranking officials of the Huashu Kingdom. At the moment, it seems the situation isn't so bad it's irreversible. At least the disaster isn't world-destroying. But the crisis is still huge, and we must find a way to resolve it. Otherwise, having a sword of Damocles hanging over our heads all day long is truly terrifying. Meng Yuanjun spoke to everyone in a half-joking tone. He deliberately used this tone to ease his nervousness, but everyone knew that he was also worried inside. Han Shanzhua still had some hope in his heart when he said to Jang E, "Han Dun, let's send some of us to the Wulan Empire first. The underground world is always safer. I don't believe that after all these years, the Wulan Empire is unprepared." Jang E sneered. "Are you the only ones going there?" Han Shanzhua frowned. "That's not what I meant. But if disaster really strikes, even we in Huashu country won't be able to do anything." Han Shanzhua was scared. If a powerful enemy invades, he can still muster up the courage to fight to the death. However, what should he do in the face of this natural disaster? Ypsilon is just a stronger human being and cannot withstand such a disaster. In short, no one is allowed to escape without permission until the matter is completely resolved. Jang E said righteously. Then he asked, "Is there any news from other countries? What about the Holy See and the Tong organization?" On the Huashu Kingdom side, it has always been the Xinjiang region that represents the top leaders in communicating with the outside world. Meng Yuanjun said, "There isn't much intelligence at the moment. I guess all the countries are in a state of tension right now." Then just wait a while. Jang E said so. It is better to rely on oneself than on others. He does not want to pin his hopes on others. Jang E immediately left the meeting and said to Lu Karen in the living room, "Karen, if the super battleship wants to fly to the moon, can it do it?" Lu Karen smiled and said, "Of course, no problem. We can set off anytime." Now they have 3 super battleships. The most powerful one is naturally the original one, the one from the Ihan tribe. It has powerful properties in itself, and now with Lu Karen's technology, it is not difficult to enter space. After all, Jang E has been preparing for refuge in outer space in the past few years, and Lu Karen has put a lot of effort into this. 2 scenarios. First, escape from the planet's surface. Second, land on the moon and find out the truth. Jang E simply gave his orders. Receive. Lu Karen saluted and winked playfully. "We already have the spaceship, and we have sufficient energy. Even if we bring the entire team, including the Fueying troops and a large number of technical personnel, it will be no problem. After all, the most difficult problem in space travel is carrying supplies. With your ability, we can save a lot of time solving this problem." Dear viewers, thanks for staying with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.